I was told to pack my bags, leave the baby in the nursery and just go. So I didn't get to say goodbye.
To find out that we were actually together, it breaks my heart.
Every year, thousands of people come to us looking for missing family. But last year, something unusual happened.
I believed for 19 years that my daughter had died. And then suspicions came to light that my daughter may not have died and was stolen at birth.
And then another searcher got in touch, telling us a similar story.
They don't have a right to take babies from other people.
No one has the right.
We realised we are facing one of our biggest challenges yet.
Hola. Hola.
In Spain.
Adiós. Adiós.
We follow the stories of British and Spanish mothers who have been living with agonising loss because of what might be one of the most shocking scandals Spain has ever seen.
In recent years, a huge number of women have come forward who believe their babies were taken from them at birth and given or sold to other families.
We've discovered people searching for their children.
But here there should be two more little heads.
Yes.
Missing.
Searching for relatives.
¿Ha llegado este día?
Searching for answers.
So what are you hoping?
I need the truth. For me, just knowing that my child was alive and well would change my life.
It's literally unbearable listening to you, I think.
Bless you.
As a mother, I just can't bear it. When Ruth Appleby came to us, she had a question that stopped us in our tracks.
If the ashes I have, as I believe, are not my daughter's, then whose are they?
What Ruth went on to tell us lifted the lid on an extraordinary story involving both Spanish and British women. Mother of two and grandmother, Ruth is 60 and is a teaching assistant. Today she lives in the Yorkshire Dales, but in 1982 she was off on her travels.
I went to Spain because my boyfriend said he wanted to go and teach English in Spain. So I said, yes, I'll go, but I'm only going for a year. I ended up staying 24 years. I absolutely loved it. Everything was so different. It just felt free and easy and just a lot of fun.
Ruth and her boyfriend Howard eventually settled in Galicia, northern Spain. And they got married.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was so overjoyed. We were both really happy. During the pregnancy, Howard and I had obviously thought about names. We'd been told it was a girl. And so we'd chosen the name Rebecca for her. The pregnancy was just idyllic. I just wanted to meet my baby.
Ruth has come back to the hospital in La Coruña.
I was admitted in 1992. I was on the 4th floor, and this end, because I remember that the window overlooked the beach. It was a very prolonged procedure that ended in having to have a cesarean with full anaesthetic.
Ruth's husband, Howard, waited anxiously outside until he heard the news.
He was told that the baby had been born and that the baby was settled in the creche area. And he saw her. He said she was absolutely beautiful, very healthy. But after about 5 minutes, the nurse that was looking after the babies there said he couldn't stay and that he needed to go home and that he'd had a long day. And then 2 hours later, he got a phone call from the hospital asking him to go back, saying that something had happened. The doctors were waiting for him. They told him in a stairwell. They were sat on the stairs and they told him that the baby had passed away.
After I came round from the operation, my husband came in, and as soon as I saw him, I thought, what's happened? And he had to break the news to me that he'd been told that Rebecca had died. My whole world fell apart. It was such a shock. And I just couldn't stop crying. I'd never felt such sadness in all my life.
The hospital were putting a lot of pressure on both of us, actually. They said that they would take care of everything, but it had to be a cremation. And I said no. I said I didn't want that.
Instead of cremation, Ruth and Howard arranged for Rebecca to be laid to rest in the local cemetery.
After I'd been discharged from hospital, we obviously went home. From then on, I had to get back into a normal way of life.
They went on to have 2 more children. Years later, in 2004, they divorced. Ruth returned to England, but the pain of losing Rebecca never went away.
There isn't a day goes by when she isn't in my head in some way.
Then, in 2010, Ruth decided to bring Rebecca's remains home. Rebecca's coffin lay here, in this cemetery, overlooking the Atlantic Ocean in northern Spain.
I used to come here very regularly to put flowers for her, and it helped me. It helped me to grieve.
Ruth arranged to have Rebecca's remains cremated to take back to England. She was accompanied by her solicitor, who had helped make the arrangements.
I was here, and there were some cemetery workers over here, and they took the coffin out to place into the chest that the crematorium had sent, because by law a coffin has to be transported that way. And to my great shock, the coffin was too big to go in the chest that they'd sent. Without a word of warning, the cemetery workers took a crowbar, opened the coffin. The remains in that coffin were intact, the complete skeleton, and the skeleton was that big. It's impossible that that was a newborn baby.
Ruth was convinced that the remains in the coffin were not Rebecca's, but those of an older child.
It's an image that I will never, ever forget. It was something from a nightmare. I didn't put things together at that time. I was just doing everything to stay on my feet because the shock was so physical and emotional. Years later, I realised everything that had happened there was completely wrong.
Ruth didn't know it yet, but there was a chance she was part of something much bigger. I've come to Madrid to investigate a story that shocked Spain to its core. I want to get to the bottom of an extraordinary scandal that broke in 2011, which the Spanish press would go on to call the stolen baby scandal. This is from La Vanguardia newspaper in January 2011, and it says that the first so-called stolen baby case came to light in Cadiz in 2010, a baby that had been born in 1974. Very quickly, this escalated to 62 cases in Cadiz alone, and that led to the creation of a class action with 300 alleged cases of baby theft. This shocking story began over 80 years ago under right-wing dictator General Franco, who ruled Spain from 1939 until his death in 1975. In those years, it's believed that babies were taken at birth from couples who opposed or threatened Franco, or even so-called unsuitable parents, like single mothers. Stolen babies were given or sold to childless couples the regime did approve of, a practice about which the church had knowledge. Even after Franco died, it's now thought the practice continued into the 1990s, with doctors, priests and nuns taking babies from new mothers and selling them. But when DNA technology became widely available 20 years ago, suddenly, people who suspected this had happened to them had a chance of getting proof. And soon, one newspaper reported the first case to be solved by DNA. It says that a mother had been told her baby had died in 1971 and was given a death certificate. And then in 2011, the mother discovered that her daughter was alive and well, and they were reunited.
Back in London, another case came to our attention. Just a month after Ruth contacted us, a mother and daughter got in touch.
Like Ruth, they told us a shocking story that happened in a hospital, this time in Madrid. The story of a mother who lost not one, but 2 children, twins.
Maria Elena and her mother Anna live in Clapham, South London.
I've lived in London since 1987. Este está muy bueno, abuela. Este te limpia todo el cuerpo. Eso es lo que te gusta, comerte un plátano. In 2010, my parents came to live with me, and then my dad passed away in 2012. And my mom has been with us here since then. I was born in February 1960, but 2 years earlier, my mom had gone to the hospital to have a birth.
Today, they have travelled to Madrid. At the age of 93, Anna is going back to the site of the hospital for the first time since that day. In 1958, Anna already had 3 children, and her pregnancy with the twins had been normal and healthy.
Es que allí en aquella esquina, allí, donde está el otro edificio, allí era.
When Anna was a young woman in the 1950s, most Spanish hospitals were run by the Catholic Church. The nurses working in them were usually nuns. And in a maternity ward, Anna believes something terrible happened to her.
No sé, no me gusta.
When she got there, she told me that she was taken to a room that had like blankets.
Anna says she was put in a storage room on her own, and there, one of the nuns gave her some kind of sedative.
They put her an injection. And she said that when she woke up, one nun told her that she had had a boy and a girl.
But sometime later, the same nun returned.
The next day, she came and she said they passed away. My man asked them who had to arrange the funeral and all that. They said, no, we do everything. So my mom said that in a way she felt grateful to the hospital.
Soon after she was told her babies had died, Anna was discharged and she went home. Gradually, she and her husband rebuilt their lives. In total, they had 7 children together. But more than 50 years after they thought the twins had died, their world would be turned upside down.
¿Eso es mentira?
Que han mentido en todo. Han puesto lo que han querido.
Ruth Appleby always had doubts about what happened to her baby daughter Rebecca, who she was told had died at birth.
Hola, buenas tardes, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien.
¿Me pone una copita de albariño?
Una copa de albariño.
But Ruth wasn't alone. All over Spain, women were coming forward with similar stories. Then in 2011, Ruth would discover she wasn't the only one with suspicions.
A Spanish friend came to visit me. And the reason for her visit, I found out afterwards, was because the scandal of stolen babies had broken in Spain at this point. She described one of the big cases that was in the news, and you could have changed the mother's name to my name. It was identical. It was mind-blowing. And I didn't know what to think.
By now, news of the Spanish stolen baby scandal had reached the UK.
In 2011, I used to work for the local authority and I came back home. And my dad and mom, they were both in the kitchen. They were reading a newspaper. My mom said, look at this article. And it was talking about babies being stolen in some hospitals in Spain.
When the scandal broke, allegations emerged about implausibly high infant death rates at particular hospitals in Spain in the 60s and 70s. Anna and her family now realised that they may have been lied to and that the twins might still be alive.
So we went to Madrid to ask for documents, and that's how we started to look for them.
Anna and Maria Elena have collected hundreds of documents and newspaper articles.
Oh, María. María era una terrible, ¿no?
Although Anna gave birth to the twins during the Franco dictatorship, they think the babies were stolen for financial gain.
I don't think it was political. It was just, these people, they have too many kids. Somebody was asking for babies. They were prepared to pay. So it was unlucky.
Ruth thinks she was targeted because she was a foreigner.
I think it's due to the fact that we didn't have any family around. It was just me and my husband, so there was no extended family to ask awkward questions.
Ruth's baby Rebecca supposedly died in 1992. It wasn't until 19 years later that Ruth thought Rebecca might still be alive. I've come to Madrid to ask Ruth what she did next.
So the scandal broke in 2011?
Yeah, a Spanish friend came to see me. I will always be grateful for her. And I had a file in my attic of everything from that pregnancy. I opened it up, and the first thing we opened was an envelope that I'd never opened, and it was the license to have her buried, and it wasn't filled in. So the police in North Yorkshire requested the hospital report for me to look at, and there are at least 3 and maybe 4 different times of death.
Oh, wow, God.
There should be one time of death.
Yeah, of course.
There was an appointment card for a checkup for the baby 6 weeks after. Why would you make an appointment for a dead baby?
You've literally had to turn detective, haven't you?
Well, like for example, this one. This is supposed to give details of the relative that was present when the baby was identified.
Nothing.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. I don't have one single paper that doesn't have something strange on it.
So what are you hoping?
Well, a very simple answer in one word. Well, 2, sorry. The truth. I need the truth. If my baby did die, as I was told, it should be very easy to prove. And if she didn't die, the dream would be to find them. If that were to happen, would they want to meet us? I've always hoped that if she was found and didn't want to, I would respect that. For me, just knowing that my child was alive and well would change my life. And it might sound drastic, but it would. It would totally change everything for me, because I'm sure that I'd still feel robbed, but it's that protective thing. You just want your children to be happy and well.
It's literally unbearable listening to you, I think.
Oh, bless you.
Well, as a mother, I just can't bear it. And I am amazed with the burden that you continue to carry and try and live a normal life. Like, I just feel such great compassion for you.
Thank you, Davina. That's
terrible. It's terrible.
Like the thousands of Spanish women who are victims of the scandal, our searchers have fought tooth and nail for justice. In this country, Anna and Maria Elena have contacted Scotland Yard. Ruth has taken her case to Yorkshire Police, to Interpol, and as far as the European Parliament.
I believe that there are approximately 1,500 reported crimes of babies being taken at birth.
But in spite of everything Ruth and Anna have tried, they both hit a brick wall. That's why they came to us. Long Lost Families expert researcher Ariel Bruce has been looking into their cases. Hi, Ariel.
Nikki.
So these people have come to us and they think their babies were stolen from them. They've been to the police. What can we do for them?
Really difficult searches. When they've managed to get documentation, or where they have had documentation, it would appear to have been falsified, inconsistent, incorrect.
So what are the next steps that we need to take?
Both Ruth and Anna have undertaken DNA tests. It's going to be the only way possible. I can't think of any other way of doing it. And so now the search begins.
In recent years, a terrible scandal has emerged in Spain. Nearly 2,000 people have come forward, questioning what really happened to babies they'd been told had died at birth. Anna, along with her daughter, approached us for help finding her baby boy and girl, who today would be in their mid-60s. When Anna had her twins in 1958, she was told they had died, and she accepted that. But when the scandal broke in 2011, nearly 50 years later, it threw everything she thought she knew into doubt. I'm going to meet them here in Madrid to learn what they've been able to find out since then.
Thank you, gracias, for talking to me today. Please, will you just apologise to Anna if this is difficult to talk about?
Dice que se disculpa si esto es difícil para ti hablar de ello.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Thank you, Danny. So when did Anna start thinking that something didn't feel quite right?
So when she saw them in the newspaper, really it was a very happy moment, but in a way sad moment, because it was like they are alive, like that. And then we started to request all the documents. We asked for the records in the Almudena cemetery, because that's where they should have buried them. And they sent us a document where it said there are no records of these babies being buried here. Also, the babies had to be baptized. There is no record of those babies being baptized.
So they weren't baptized, and there's no record of them at the cemetery?
No.
What's your opinion on all the different documents that all say different things? Why is that?
Because everything is a lie. It's all contradictions.
It's interesting when you're a young woman and something terrible happens, how we just put faith in the people that deal with us.
In those times you wouldn't question nuns, doctors. They don't have a right to take babies from other people.
No one has the right.
No.
Does Anna have hope?
Dice que tienes esperanzas.
Pocas.
Not many, not much. No, because really it would be really a miracle, isn't it?
What keeps you going? Because it's a lot of work.
Because it's the right thing to do. They say forget. No, I don't forget.
Anna doesn't forget.
No, no. Dice que no olvidas, ¿no? No los olvidas.
No, quisiera saber cómo están.
She says she would like to know how they are.
It's a basic right to know how your children are.
Look, also your
photograph.
Yes. This is a photo of my family.
Wow.
So this is my mom.
Una foto muy mal.
What did she say?
She said, it's not a nice photo. She never likes the photo.
She looks great.
No.
Yes. See.
This is my dad.
Oh, wow.
Maria Elena.
Is that you?
Rather
so sweet.
But here there should be two more little heads.
Yes.
So they are missing.
So sad.
To try to understand how the practice of stealing babies became so widespread in Spain, I've come to meet Professor Soledad Luque, who's pushing for new legislation to help solve stolen baby cases.
Soledad, hi, how are you doing?
Nice encantada.
Hi, Claire.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
We're joined by Claire, who's translating for us.
Thank you, and thank you very much for seeing me today. I think the really key question, how many stolen babies are there?
Creo que la pregunta clave es ¿cuántos niños robados se estima que hay?
No podemos determinar qué cantidad de niños robados hay, pero sí podemos determinar que hay miles de denuncias.
A lot.
Muchísimas.
Yeah.
Muchísimas.
In the UK, there's a real culture of putting your DNA onto a DNA database. Not so much in Spain. Might there be a campaign to say anyone who was adopted, put their DNA onto a database?
No hay un banco de ADN nacional, gratuito, donde libremente las personas puedan ir a dar su huella de ADN. Y esto es un problema porque muchas personas no pueden pagar la prueba de ADN. Precisamente en la ley de bebés robados que estamos impulsando, pedimos un banco de ADN nacional, gratuito.
This is such a quest for justice. So this whole issue, it started under the dictator General Franco. Was this a deliberate policy by the state?
Absolutamente. Fue una práctica deliberada del Estado. Es que la Iglesia y el Estado era una única unidad.
In 1939, the law was even changed to allow authorities to issue birth certificates with adoptive parents' names in place of a child's biological parents.
It's so difficult to understand how men of God can justify this wickedness.
Bien, lo primero que hay que entender es que no suelen justificarla porque no la reconocen. No la reconocen. Sin embargo, algunas religiosas que estuvieron imputadas, en concreto una, cuando se le preguntaba sobre el caso en sí, por el que estaba imputada, ella siempre decía que lo que hacía era siempre por el bien de esos niños y atendiendo las instrucciones de sus superiores. Por tanto, estamos casi seguras que estas personas no actuaban pensando en que estaban haciendo algo erróneo. Desafortunadamente, ellas pensaban que estaban haciendo el bien.
Immorality masquerading as morality.
Exactamente.
The practice of stealing babies didn't only impact parents, but the children too. A Spanish woman revealed to us the shocking amount her adoptive mother told her that she'd been sold for.
25.000 pesetas del año 53. Era mucho dinero. Podías comprar una casa.
Ruth and Anna came to us as mothers, searching for the children they believe were stolen from them. We're shining a light into a dark corner of Spain's history. And it's a history that has devastated entire generations of not only parents, but also children. A 70-year-old retired secretary, Irene Meca Mateo, lives in North Madrid with her husband. She has 2 grown-up daughters.
Mis hijas ya se emanciparon, o sea que ya estamos jubilados y viviendo tranquilos en casa y sin mucho problema.
Irene was born in 1953 and adopted as a baby. 3 years later, her father died, leaving just Irene and her mother.
De mi infancia, los recuerdos que tengo pues muy agradables no son. No he tenido nunca una buena relación con mi madre. Eso de que te falta algo, que no es la relación que yo tengo con mis hijas ahora mismo. Yo notaba que algo no estaba bien. Ella se volvió a casar de nuevo cuando yo tenía 11 años y eso ya fue un absoluto dolor y con cosas muy feas. Un día, en esas tantas broncas que había en casa, mi padrastro entró y lo que me dijo me escupió a la cara que a mí me habían adoptado y que no era mi familia. Es una bofetada brutal.
Hola, ¿me pones un descafeinado solo, por favor?
Te puedes imaginar con 15 años que te caiga ese chorro de agua fría encima, es muy duro. Tú crees que tu vida es esta, que tu familia es esta, que es lo que... Y de repente te das cuenta que has vivido en una mentira.
Gracias por que lo tienes. Muchas gracias.
To make matters worse, Irene's adoptive mother wouldn't talk to her about the adoption, but she did admit that she paid a huge amount of money for her.
¿Han pagado por mí? Es lo mismo que cuando vas al mercado y compras un pollo. Es que te da lo mismo.
After hearing that shocking news, Irene became determined to get to the truth of her identity.
Yo soy mayor de edad. Me voy pues de mostrador en mostrador, donde me decían que podía encontrar yo papeles sobre mi adopción para tirar de algún hilo, encontrar algún papel que ponga algo.
Little did Irene know, she had taken the first steps towards finding her roots. Irene grew up with the name Irene Mecca Mateo, but when the documents came through, she was in for a surprise. After Irene was told she was adopted, she obtained her adoption records, and they showed a different name. Here it is, Irene Sanz Alonso. And there's more. In her official birth certificate, where the birth parent's name should be entered, there's no Alonso. In fact, there are no names at all. It's all blank. It's a pattern that is seen in thousands of similar scenarios, including Anna's and Ruth's. But it doesn't stop them looking for the children they believe are out there, somewhere.
I have promised myself I will never stop searching for the truth. People may lie, but I will search for the truth till my dying day if needed.
Whilst Ruth and Anna wait to see if putting their DNA online has results, I'm going to see Irene. She was sold off as a baby, and as part of her search for her birth parents, she'd also taken a DNA test.
De repente me aparece una coincidencia.
Irene was then put in touch with a woman called Rocío, who lived in Madrid.
Mis primos. Es como de repente, el día que yo me entero que tengo esa familia, es salir a la calle y hacer zas con los pies, o sea, como clavarte al suelo, como que ya sé quién soy, sé de dónde soy.
From finding a cousin, it would be a short step to uncovering Irene's true identity.
Irene, thank you very much for seeing me today. Your story is so incredible and so moving. The first time you met your cousin must have been wonderful.
A estas alturas de mi vida, con 70 años, encontrar a mi familia ha sido increíble.
Tell me what has happened.
Una prima que encontré por medio de ADN, Rocío, me llevó al que es mi pueblo, donde nací, Ambite. Fuimos al registro civil y allí, en el libro de nacimientos del año 53, encontraron a una niña nacida de una mujer soltera en aquel momento, nacida el 23 de marzo de 1953, y esa niña era yo.
In Ambite, a small town outside Madrid, the birth record showed there was only one female baby for the right date. Then, a local man told Irene he was related to the mother of the baby, and he agreed to give a DNA test, which proved the match. The baby was Irene, and Irene now finally knew the identity of her birth mother.
And was that a moment that your life in some ways started to make sense?
Absolutamente, porque hasta entonces estás completamente en el aire, es que no sabes quién eres. Y si encima la familia que te encuentras te acoge bien, es una sensación fantástica.
When you saw your mother's name and you found out who she was, you must have had so many questions.
Y la primera pregunta que me hacía, ¿dónde está ella? Y ella ya no estaba. Ella murió 2 años después de nacer yo. Entonces quedan muchas preguntas todavía.
Irene's mother died outside Madrid in 1955 in a sanatorium for the treatment of psychiatric patients.
Sé quién es, sé su nombre, vi su foto.
Can I see the photograph of your mother?
Es ella.
I see. Yeah. No, she looks like you.
Sí.
Yeah.
No sé.
Yeah, I think so. See? I see.
Es increíble. Es mi madre.
Today, Irene's cousin Rocío wants to show her a special view of the town where she was born 70 years ago.
Cuando tú pasas 70 años sin saber quién eres y de repente te encuentras con toda una familia, un milagro. Para mí ha sido un milagro, evidentemente.
¿Ha llegado este día?
Qué día precioso, ¿eh?
Hace un día precioso.
Hola, prima.
Hola, prima.
Hola. Ganas de verte en este entorno. Bueno.
¿Qué tal?
Bien. Ha sido-
Mira.
Es maravilloso que estés hoy aquí, que estemos juntas compartiendo este maravilloso día. Y que gracias a la vida, a todo.
Gracias a ti siempre. Pero sin ti no lo consigo, Rocío. Eso lo tengo muy claro siempre.
Pues yo encantada.
Y que te
porque
quiero,
además-
primita.
Yo también te quiero, todo el mundo.
Es mi pueblo. Yo he nacido allí. Una de mis primas vive en la casa donde yo he nacido. Allí nacimos todos. Y ahora tengo todo.
Like Irene, Anna and Ruth hope DNA will reunite them with their lost family, their children. Ariel Bruce has been looking into their cases.
So, Ariel, what have you been able to do in Anna and Ruth's cases?
Well, they both put their DNA onto all of the sites, and unfortunately, there have been no proper connections. Nobody that could be either a child of theirs or a grandchild of theirs, and that's what we would be looking for.
This is devastating for Ruth and Anna, isn't it?
We've told them off camera, and they are sad but understand the situation. I think for both of them, they were realistic that this was always going to be a terribly difficult search. I'm hopeful that in the future more people will test and they may get the answers that they so hope for.
Sadly, most birth mothers who believe their babies were stolen are left frustrated, looking for answers. But there can be comfort in talking to other people who've been through the same ordeal. I've arranged to introduce Ruth to Anna and Maria Elena. I'm going to leave you guys to it, actually. So, and they speak Spanish, perfect.
Well, thank you very much, Davina.
I hope it goes well.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you, you too.
All right.
Bye now. Hola, buenas tardes. Soy Ruth.
Hola, Ruth.
Hola. Un beso. Encantada, ¿eh?
Me alegro mucho.
Pues yo también.
Hola.
Hola.
Qué alegría conocerte.
Pues igualmente, de verdad, ¿eh?
So
de verdad.
glad.
Sí, thank you, thank you. Ah.
Gracias.
Yo
se han robado,
soy
sí.
mayor que tú. Yo soy mayor. Tengo 93
Wow, pero qué bien nos lleva. No, es que sí.
Did you know about our case?
So what happened?
Aunque una monja me dijo, un niño y una niña han tenido, ¿cómo quiere llamarle? Y al otro día vino y dice, se ha muerto.
I presume that, like myself, that your mother believed what the doctors said.
Dice que como ella, que os creísteis lo que decían los doctores.
Sí.
I'm so sorry, lo siento tanto, que robaron a dos. Es... No hay palabras, ¿verdad? Pero hay que tener esperanza. I'm really grateful to speak to you, and I would like to stay in contact.
Me too.
Yeah, and maybe we can meet and help each other.
Sí, es más fácil.
Sí, sí, pero los milagros a veces suceden.
El mismo barco.
Sí, sí.